Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody that's present. Welcome to our webinar. You can all say
Hello.
hello on the chat. We have Julian here, just to know if everybody can hear us properly. Thank you, Eric, saying hello. Have Marcus, Brad, thank you. Hi, Brad. Brad. Okay, so okay, that's good. So, welcome and thank you for joining this webinar, for signing up. We have a little poll going just to get things going. So feel free to participate. Paul, Christos, hello, good morning. Hope everybody's doing fine. Um, we'll give a couple minutes so everybody can join. Um, so feel free to present yourselves, introduce yourselves on the chat, and participate on the poll. So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Ana Victoria Torres. I'm Communications Manager at Wattsense. So, I will be moderating this webinar. We have Julien Herbin with us, Product Director, Wattsense. So, thank you, Julien, for participating as well.
You're
We have
welcome. Hello,
Luis,
everyone.
we have David, we have Paul. Great. Good morning. Good morning. I think we should start soon. Mm, have Mike as well joining us. Um, so during this webinar, we will be presenting the top features in our console, the top features that we develop or we consider the top features during 2022. And we will also be discussing what's to come in 2023. So that's very exciting, and we're very happy to be presenting to you what's the roadmap, etc. So I think for all, hello, Rene. Rene is one of our distributors from Singotech. We have Juan Ramon Portero. We have Samuel. Thank you guys for joining us. I think we have some people from Seven, Pedro, Soswa. We also have some people from other companies here as well. Okay, great. And so, as I said, for those that weren't here, like I'm Ana Torres, Communications Manager at Wattsense. Today, the top 22 features and 2023 updates coming up. We have Julian, Product Director. And so for you guys to know some housekeeping items, this webinar will be available for replay via email. So once it's finished, it will be available. You will receive an email so you can check it out and also share it. But it would also be available in our YouTube channel. So I'm going to put up the link over there so you can join our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is something really cool that we're developing and has a lot of tutorials and videos. So it's not only webinars, but it's a lot of different demonstrations of our solutions. So I invite you to join the Wattsense YouTube channel to stay up to date with what's going on. So today we have two chats on the Livestorm platform. So we have the general chat where you have all been kindly saying hello and good morning. And there you can put all your messages and write about all your questions that you have during the live demo. But we also have the questions chat that's up to the left has a little question box icon, pretty evident there. So then you can write more general questions or questions that you think are best for the Q&A section that we will have at the end of the presentation. So don't worry if we don't see your question and we didn't answer it during the demo. We have a Q&A section and we will gladly, I hope we can get through most of the questions or all the questions. So feel free to write your questions and also feel free to vote for the questions, because with the question section, you have a little vote thing so you can vote for those questions that you find interesting and that you want to see answered. So without further ado, I've been blabbing a lot. Let's just introduce our great product director, Julien. Julien, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thanks, Anna. And good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening to everyone joining us today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking the time to come. So let's start this presentation. Here is the agenda for this hour. First, give you a quick introduction of where are we at Wattsense today in early 2023. Then we're going to review together the top features of 2022. We will move to the 2023 roadmap to give you some insights about the Wattsense roadmap and the first two features that we are about to release in this first quarter. And then at the end, we make sure we have time for an open session for question and answers. So where are we at Wattsense in 2023? As you probably know, we have been acquired by Siemens in October 2021. And as it may be visible with this logo, not much has changed since then. What I mean by that is that we are still executing on our mission and we are still executing our roadmap with the features that we want to make available to our users. Of course, we are benefiting from Siemens' experience in the building management, and they help us a lot, and I want to thank them for that. And Siemens is also a key channel for the Wattsense product. As you may have noticed, also we white labeled the Wattsense box with the Siemens Connect Box product. But outside this, not much, same DNA, and we carry on executing. And that means that our visions remain the same. And this vision is to make buildings more connected for others to make use of the building equipment and the building data, either to decrease energy consumption or simply monitor the building. And I think, Wilana, we have a question for you about the way you use Wattsense and what is your objective. So it will be available in the poll tab. About Wattsense, so we are roughly 30 people. We are all located in France. Most of us are working near Lyon. Some of us are remote, including myself, near the Paris area. We have 5,000 devices installed on site, both boxes and hubs. And thanks to our 30 resellers in different countries, different continents that I would like to thank, we are distributing the Wattsense product to as many small and medium-sized buildings as we can in time to reduce the energy consumption. So now let's review what has been released in 2022. And I don't know if you remembered, but we started 2022 with some reorientation of our product offering. So I like to quote that we have one product and two packages, either box or either a hub, but behind the scene, it's exactly the same hardware. It's only the software that is offering different capabilities. And the key difference between a box and a hub, even so they are highlighted in this table, is that for hubs, we do not store the data from the different properties coming from the equipment. So the data are not sent to the Wattsense cloud. It's up to you. It's an on-premise device to redirect those data to your supervision or to your MQTT broker, for example. And because of this is where the feature gap is different between box and hub. For box, you can play with the data, if I may say. So you can do graph, you can do alarms, you can do dashboards, you can use the data through API. For hubs, you can't. But for both box and hubs, with the embedded 4G SIM card managed by Wattsense, you can do remote configuration. And that's why in 2022, we switch the configuration of hubs from the local application that we called DA for desktop application to the cloud. And this is what I'm going to show you to start the demo. So I'm going to share my screen, and Anna, you tell me if it's working as expected.
It's loading at the moment. I can see it. Perfect. If everybody has an
Perfect.
issue, please let us know in the chat.
Thank you. So here, I'm going to log in on the Wattsense console. And for the purpose of this demo, let's say that I am working in a city hall, the city hall of this town here near Paris. And me and my team, we are managing boxes connected to different sites. And I'm testing the Wattsense box on a school, on a primary school, and I have a hub on a museum. And this will be the setup for this demo. So let's look at the hub. So because we move the configuration of hubs from a local application to a remote configuration available in the console, here I can see my hub, I can see its configuration. And even so, the Wattsense server don't receive any data coming through the hubs, from the hubs, I can still edit the configuration. I'm going to show this to you. So here I have an Adonis Comfort LoRaWAN sensor. I'm going to add one more data point that I want to synchronize with the my local supervision or with the Wattsense with a distant MQTT broker. I can save the change and send the new configuration to the hub without having to go on site and amend the hub through the desktop application anymore. However, that being said, the data are not coming through the Wattsense platform. And for this, if I want, for example, I'm doing some configuration on my hub and I want to check if I did configure it correctly, I can enable the data reception through this switch located next to the name. By doing so, a command is sent to the hub and the hub will now send the data. And in here, I will be able to check when the data are coming up. So here, we have to remember that it's a LoRaWAN device. So the uplink is sent every hour. So I will keep the tab open. We're going to do some, I will show you some other screens and we come back to it. And normally, because the data have been synchronized, I should see the data coming into the Wattsense server. And the data will be available for 1 hour. After that, the hub goes back to normal and it won't send the data and the data will be deleted from the Wattsense server. Because remember with the hub, it's a on-premise device and we are able to see the data only to check the configuration. So let's go back to the demo and let's now look at the school. Here we are. And in its configuration. So for us at Wattsense, our goal is to be able for you to configure an equipment, a box, and install it on site in half a day. Like we believe that this is a good objective that someone that has little or good knowledge of building management can go on site, plug the equipment to the box, make sure the data are coming through, and leave the building. And that's the reason why we try to make as easy as possible the addition of new equipment. To add new equipment to the box, you have different ways, and you can use what we call the configuration wizard. In the configuration wizard, the aim is to simplify the declaration of equipment. For this, you can select an equipment from the Wattsense equipment database by looking at its product reference. I am pleased to tell you that in starting in 2023, we have more than 1,000 equipment available in the equipment database, and that at least 250 of those equipment were added in the past year alone. So be sure that this is something that we are really working on, adding new equipment not only Siemens catalog equipment, but equipment from all the different manufacturers, wired equipment, wireless equipment. And when we do wireless equipment, we decode the codec for you so that you get directly the data points or the properties available in the console. What we've been working on as well in 2022, on top of adding equipment, is the scan for backnet networks. We added new capabilities to the backnet scan in order to make it more reliable, because we noticed that even so the Wattsense product is sought for small and medium-sized buildings, we were often challenged by backnet scan with thousands and thousands of equipment, and we made it better and more robust to play with. And the last enhancement in 2022 is for scanning M-bus network. So before that, when you wanted to play with M-bus equipment, you had to declare them manually, one by one, with all the properties in the different screens. We added support for the M-bus scan. So now you can run a scan. You can run a scan on the M-bus primary address, either a full scan of the network or either a scan in a range, or you can do it on the secondary address, same, full scan of the network, and soon, I think it will be before the end of this quarter, you will be able to trigger a scan by playing with the pattern of the secondary address of the M-bus devices if it's known to you. When you launch the scan, you will see the results. So on this box here, I did a scan prior to the demo. I have only one M-bus device. It's I think it's a calorie counter. And I see here the equipment on the left and the different data points on the right with the values. Here, for example, I have the secondary address of my M-bus devices. I can then select all the properties that are relevant for me and click on. Here you don't see it because it has been already saved, adding them to the configuration of my box. So this is one thing. One thing is to add equipment. Another thing that we wanted to focus on in 2022 is to explore the data that is brought by those equipment. So here I am in the dashboard section, still for my school. You knew about what we call schematic, so the possibility to add a background image, which I did here with a 3D view, a satellite view of my school, and putting the relevant data points in my control classrooms. So this is something from the past, if I may say. What we worked on in 2022 is to add what we called charts or dashboards that are more or less widgets where you can show, when you can see, either one data point. So here, for example, I choose to show the humidity of my soft classroom control, or you can present the data in a data table here. To do this, we wanted to make it easy for you. You select the property that you want to show. So here, I will select the temperature again. You can give it your own label if you want to do so. You can also make it easy to redirect to the latest values or to the data point configuration if needed. And you click on Add. And from there, you have a new tile with the value of your data point. You can choose to see the latest values as well. And you land here where you can see the latest values. We made this screen responsive because it has been designed for being used also on mobile. And you can also play with the declaration of a table where you can specify up to 4 different cells to show the values and display them accordingly. So this is another way of showing data to your users or to the different building stakeholders. But one way to play with the data is also to make sure that the buildings behave as it should. For this, we enhance alarms. So we created alarms. I mean, we added alarms. We didn't create the notion of alarms. We added alarms to the console in 2021, but in 2022, we made some improvement to the alarm configuration, and I will show it to you. So let's say that I want to create an alarm based on the temperature, and this temperature is the temperature of the classroom, and it should be between 19 degrees Celsius and 26 degrees Celsius. The trigger will be the value of a property. This property will be the temperature in my north-oriented classroom. This is not new. What is new is this, is that I can specify different ranges and attach different severity to those range. So I can say that between 0 and 17 degrees, if it happens, I want my alarm to trigger and it will create an alert with a critical severity. If the temperature is between 17 and 19, the severity will be standard. Depends on my policy, of course. Between 26 and 28, it will be standard as well. And anything above 28 will be critical again. And here you can visualize, have a quick view of the different ranges and the severities. And if it happens, I will notify someone. So I will notify someone that might not have access to the console already, like my facility management company if it's externalized. So I will put the email address. I could put also a generic email address here if I want to do so. And I will choose to notify them once every hour, and maybe only for critical alerts. Here we are. So about the alarms, it will trigger depending on the number of occurrences. I can say here that I will choose the alarm to trigger if it happens 3 times within 4 hours. Because remember, I am using LoRaWAN devices that are sending value once every hour. So over 4 hours, I should get 3 LoRaWAN uplinks, 4 LoRaWAN uplinks, which is enough to make sure I met those definition. And what we added in 2022, on top of the different severities and the ranges, is the possibility to automatically close the alarm if the condition returns to normal. And for it to return to normal, it will mean that if during another 4 hours window, all my temperature values are between here 19 and 26, then I will close the different alerts and the alarms to not be notified again, except if it goes as unexpected again. So here we are, I save the alarm. And so here we won't see the alarm being triggered because obviously I just created it and I need to wait 4 hours to analyze the value. But in this panel here, if it happens, I will be able to see the different value of my data points if it went into one of the ranges and an history of the different alerts raised, as you can see it here. So this is additions to alarm in 2022. In 2023, there will be some enhancement as well made to the alarms. And please let us know in the chat or in the questions section of the webinar which features you will be interested in the alarm, because there's still plenty of work for us to do here. Now, I will go back to the slide and speak a bit about 2023. So I'm going to skip through some slides. Here we are. So 2023, what will be the focus for Wattsense? We gave ourselves 4 objectives for this new year. The first one is to provide a global and a reliable solution to support the growth of our partners and our clients. And what I mean by that is that by multiplying the different installation of Wattsense box, we encounter many new use cases that we support. And this is what we want to achieve through our service, to let us the bandwidth to support you in the different use cases of the box. The second objective for this year is that we want to make the equipment database a strong product within the Wattsense offering. For example, we know that today you have some limitation when you want to search for an equipment, you search by product reference. But sometimes you don't know which reference you need. What you need is a water leak detector, or you need an IAQ sensor that communicates through LoRaWAN. And this is what we want to do. We want to make the search of equipment much easier than it is today, to search by use cases rather than product reference. And also, we want to ease compatibilities between LoRaWAN devices and Wattsense box to make it as easy as it is to integrate LoRaWAN devices into your supervisions. A third objective for this year is to go beyond the gateway or the data broker solution that we are today to offer new and differentiating features. Again, what I mean by this is that I think that at Wattsense, and it was the feedback for some of you, we are good at capturing the data point values, but we could do more with those data points. And what we want to do more, for example, is to make it easy to do index computation so that you can see the difference in your energy consumption from one day to the other, if you have an energy meter. Or we want to make it easy for you to create what we call virtual data points based on formulas that are matching with your use cases. And make this available both locally for redirecting it to the supervision or remotely in the cloud. At last, the last objective for this year, and it's ambitious, is to move into the control. To let you take your grips on the equipment themselves and control them by editing automation scenarios in an easy way and execute them within the box. So those are the 4 objectives that we want to achieve for this year. And I will show you 2 of the first features that we are about to release as part of Q1 2023 that go into this direction. So I will share my screen again. Anna, let me know if it works as expected. Up. Here we are.
All good from my
All good.
side.
Thank you. So before I go in the new features, let's go back quickly to the hub. And normally, I should see some data coming through if my LoRaWAN did come up. Yeah. So here, one of my LoRaWAN devices sent a uplink 10 minutes ago. And because I activated the data reception here, I can see the different data coming through. This allows me to check that my different values are as expected. Notably, for example, the battery level for my LoRaWAN, it is normal, so that's good. So then I can stop the reception and the data will be deleted by Wattsense automatically. While we are speaking about hubs, the first feature that I want to show you is what we call routing table. What is routing table? It is a way for you to specify when you need it, your own IP addresses as part of your network, to not have interference between your IP configuration and the configuration of a Wattsense server. What I mean by that is that when you use the hub communicates with the Wattsense server through a routing table for the hub to know where to find and communicate with the Wattsense server. When you use the hub, sometimes you're connected to a backnet IP network, which was the main use case here. And the configuration of a network can conflict with the default routing table for Wattsense. So that's why we added this capability. Here, you can declare your own route from your backnet IP network. So you need to add the address, net mask, and the gateway. And you can specify a priority if needed. And once you add the route, it will be added to your custom routing table and executed inside the hub. So I hope you will make a good use of this feature. It's a rather highly technical features, I would say, but we got a lot of requests from our hub users to support this because of a backnet IP network setup. The other features I want to speak about is schedules. At Wattsense, what we would like to do is to make it possible for building stakeholders to control their eating schedules or their occupation schedules in the same fashion as they will play with a calendar in Outlook or in the Google Suite, and configure the occupation schedule, the eating schedule with the different set points, and set the information to the boiler control unit if there is one. This is quite ambitious and this is tough, but we are working in this direction. And because we know we can't achieve it right now in January 2023, we did choose to do a first step. And this first step is to make it as easy as possible to write today the schedules inside a boiler control unit that has its own schedules management. And when we look at the market, we found out that a lot of the boiler control unit are from Siemens, and they are RVL or Synco devices, as well as backnet equipment. So we worked on this with the help of Siemens, but not only. And this is what will be possible soon. So you select the boiler control unit, here a Siemens RVL 480. You will find the different data points available from the equipment database. Apologize for this, those data points are still in French, but we are working on translating them and having them in English. Here, you will see the different data points. And what we are interesting to look at is about the schedules data points. Here they are. So here is the schedule for the Tuesday. And now, with this new version, we made a convenient interface to set the value for the schedule on one day, here Tuesday, and you can specify different slots. And because it's a RVL, you need to take into account some specificities that we try to summarize in this banner. But what it means that before 7 a.m., my equipment will be in reduced mode, and the temperature set point for reduced is configured somewhere else in the RVL. Between 7 and 12, it would be set up to normal. Between 12 and 2 p.m., reduced again. then normal till 9 p.m. and reduced. And let's say that in my school there was a meeting with the parents last Tuesday, so I increased it to 9 p.m. I want to move it back, so I move it back to 6 p.m. here. I save my change, and then the new schedule is pushed to the device for this specific day. And at 6 o'clock, the temperature of the building should slow down and go back. I mean, the production will slow down to go back to the reduced temperature set point and save energy for the school. In the same fashion as I can set a schedule, I can also set some exceptions. Again, it's a RVL, so we have to take it into account. With RVL, I have 8 exception slots to specify my holidays. So here, in my third slot, I'm declaring that my school holidays will start on the 18th of February. They will end on the 5th of March. And during this exception, between the 18th to the 5th, the building will go back to reduced mode or protection mode, depending on the configuration of the RVL. And this will be available very soon. As you can see, I am on a test environment, but this is just a matter of days. And I think it's actually, I'm sorry, it's already available when you add a new RVL equipment. You will already see this new interface. This is available for RVL devices as well as Synco devices. If you don't see those data points, please reach out to us. It may be that we don't have the latest or the right data table depending on the version of your device and depending on the software version of your device, but we can add it with the support team at Wattsense. And it will be available for BACnet devices soon, as we are working on it right now. And with this, that's it. That's the 2 new features that I wanted to show you. And I'm going back to the slides and to you, Anna, to open the floor to the questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Julien, for that amazing presentation. I think we have a lot of questions coming from, well, Tim has been answered a lot of the questions already. I also wanted to say that before the webinar ends, thank you to all those that participated in the polls, and you can still do it and participate, those that haven't participated. And now we can look at some of the questions that Tim has already replied, but maybe might interest others for you to address as well, Julian. And also now everybody that has questions, feel free to jump in, put them in the chat, and Julian can also answer some. Before we jump with that, I wanted to mention that I see a lot of the questions are related to our user console and how it works in terms of what is shown and different types of capabilities. And something that's very exciting to us, last year, Maud Gary joined us in the team as the UI UX member of our team. So user interface and user experience. So it's part of our project to continue developing our user console and our interface, and it's something that is on the plans and we're developing. So I think that that would also help a lot of the questions that you guys have, and Julian can speak on that later. So we have Ashley that says, on the hub, under configurations, on the gateways tab, are you adding in the capabilities to export this list as a CSV/Excel file, for example, to enable a quick and easy method to rename the points and the object instances? So, Julien, I think Tim already answered, but if you want to, it's more about sharing data and how are we making it easy to download and export this information, which is key for building management.
Yeah, sure. So thanks, Ashley. So Tim is right. This is something that we have been made aware of, that some of our users requested. We know we have to work on bulk capabilities to edit or create equipment. And this is something that we are looking at, but not working on right now, to be honest with you. So it is definitely something that we want to do, but I can't tell you when it will be available today.
Okay, so we also have Mark Wint, who is also part of the distribution network with us and works with us, collaborating. So Mark says another similar request is to have to have the ability to set the DNS server address when SHCP is not in use. Like, is it available to do that? This was the hub box when the box and hub has internet access when using static IP addressing. Tim is replying this question, but I don't know, Julian, if also you can add to that. Oh, DHCP, he corrected later. So it's not SHCP, DHCP.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mark. So I'm afraid that I'm not the best person to to reply to you. This goes outside my skill set today. I see Tim is replying. If we don't have a reply, we can check that and come back to you, or we can have a one-on-one conversation to go through this and trying to first to understand as best as we should your question and then finding the right answer.
So yeah, so Tim is replying to that one. We also have two new questions. So we have Stephen Holland. Hi, we have two new boxes on test. On power up both connected, okay, but since powering both off and on again, the heartbeat has stopped flashing on one box. How can we fix this? So I think this is also a question for Tim, or I don't know, Julian, if you have something to add to that. It's more like a support question. So two new boxes on test.
Yes, I think yeah, it's more a support question, but if the heartbeat has stopped flashing, it's not a good sign.
Mhm.
So Stefan, I can only recommend to liaise with our support team. Timothée is here, but I think this need to open a case. You can send an email to support@wattsense.com, which will open a ticket to follow up on your request, because they probably need to ask you more detail and check the status of a different box.
Yeah, I'm also, I will add the support platform on the chat so you guys can join in. So we also have people asking about in upcoming or new releases if they will be able to use or see the Ethernet MAC addresses from the console in the news release. So can people see the Ethernet MAC addresses from the console in the new release? Will that be available? I think Tim said something.
Yeah, what Tim answered is true that it's printed on the label, but I think that we have. I mean, I didn't describe all the changes we did in 2022 because there are some other changes. But I think with what we did, we could get this information from the embedded from the device to the embedded to the console and the cloud platform. So I think so. I think it's something that we can do now. I will check that, but it should be possible, yeah, with what we did recently.
So we have a question from Juan Ramon Portero. He says, some projects require to integrate data points in other systems. For this, it is needed to download all the selected data points. Now, it is possible to download data points by device. Are you working to make that available? I think the question got cut out, but I think that's it. So he's asking, uh, is it, will there be a way to download all the selected data points by device?
Yes. Something that we have identified as well. And yeah, we want to do it. It's just that we released this first version when you can download all the data points. That's true, device by device. I think we did it a few months ago. And
Mhm.
once you're in the equipment, you only see the list of equipment, but you want everything in once. It's just that for some internal questions needs a bit more work than just putting all the files together, if I may say. So this is something that we have been identified that is in the roadmap, but it's just a matter of prioritization. And so that's why it's good to hear your feedback today and to don't hesitate to vote as well on the question, because the way we work is that we collect a lot of feedback about our devices. And
Mhm.
when we look at what we're going to work on a quarter, we go through the different feedback. We see the strength, how many people ask for it, etc. And then we take it into consideration. So the more people ask for this feature, the more important it will be in our radar, and the sooner it will be available. But for now, I can't give you any timeline, one.
Yeah. So this is the moment, like if you guys have any features that you would like to see included, or you feel there's something that we haven't mentioned that you would like to see, feel free to ask in the chat or in the question section, or mention something in the question section. So Juan says many thanks to Julian. So that seems pretty clear on that end. Other questions were about the graphics that were presented, and I think you replied that on the. Oh, there's some questions about updates planned for user management. Can you give users permission to specific data points in the coming releases? Will that be available? I think a team answered that, but if you want to add something to what's coming next.
Yeah, I think it will be good to hear more about the use case here, because that's true that it's something that has been raised and that it's been in the backlog, but will very, how can I say, little priority, to be honest, because it is not something that we encounter too often, most notably for small and medium-sized buildings. So our focus is not on this one, for now.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we have answered all the questions. Thank you, team, for joining us and taking care of all the technical questions. And thank you, Julian, for the presentation. If nobody else has any questions to ask, I think we can wrap this up. As I mentioned before, this will be available on replay and also on our YouTube channel. Also, very important, we are doing a product newsletter. So when there are new features, as a subscriber to the console, you will receive an email sharing all the news and all the updates. And if you're not receiving this product newsletter and you already have an account in your an account created in your console, reach out to me. You can write us at contact@wattsense.com or support@wattsense.com for support questions. And we will add you to the newsletter so you're up to date. But feel free to share with us if you're receiving it, if you like it, if you don't. That's also important feedback. We want to connect more with you and discuss more things. We have Rene. Thank you everybody for joining, and we hope that this is something that is valuable to you guys, and that we can continue doing. Julian, if you want to say something before we say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for your time. It's a bit frustrating to not be able to hear you or see you, but I hope you enjoy the webinar and the news. Thanks for the kind words as well in the chat. And as Anna mentioned, we will look at the different questions. Even so, we replied directly during the webinar. We're going to come back to you with a written answer as well. I think it's important.
Yeah, to recap everything.
Yeah. So thanks again. Let's keep building the product, make it better, to reduce energy consumption, to do what we can to make comfort better. All of us. Thanks again, and talk to you soon.
Yes, and you can still participate in the polls. Your opinion is key and valuable to us for everything. So thank you very much, and have a good rest of the day and of the week. Ciao,
See
guys.
you. Bye.
Bye.